Hey, what's up YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Meyson. Today I'm going to be retouching this image of this beautiful model Angel. I'll put a link in the description below to her Instagram page, or I'll put her Instagram handle on the screen here, so you guys can always go check out and follow her, give her a thumbs up, you know, let her know that you actually saw her page here, my YouTube page. But yeah, so we're going to be retouching this image, and this was shot by me, but I did a joint photo shoot with my friend and my flatmate Deluxe Ash. If you guys don't know him, I'll put a link to in the description below to his YouTube page and his Instagram, and also I'll put it on the screen so you guys can see that, and go check him out too. He's an amazing photographer. We had this idea of doing a couple photo shoots together and creating some really nice Lightroom presets that you guys can use to color grade those images. But you know, until then, we'll see. Now I'm just going to edit this image, and I haven't done anything. I have not touch this image. I just brought them into Capture One and, you know, selected a few images. So here are some images from the photo shoot that I selected, and maybe we'll be editing the other ones later in another video. But today we're going to be retouching this particular image. So the first thing I want to do, or the first thing I did, was I pulled my highlights down. Just wanting to see that, but I won't pull it down so much, so somewhere around here is fine. And the image is properly exposed. Also, if I check my exposure warning, you guys can see properly exposed. There aren't any clipping highlights. And also check your mask, it's in focus. So we really do not have too much to do with this image, and I don't want to do too much with this image in Capture One. So I'm going to take this image, maybe I'll just do one little thing. Turn on my exposure warning. This video is probably going to be pretty long, so somewhere around here, then drag my blacks in. Okay, great, something like this. Now the reason why you turn on your exposure warning is to see when your highlights are clipping, and now I've turned it off. So this looks really good. So now good thing about Capture One now is that you can see your before and your after. So let's see, before, after, before, after, before, after. You guys can see we actually just added a little bit of contrast to the image. So right now I'm going to take this image, edit with Adobe Photoshop, and we'll take it to Photoshop. So now that we are in Photoshop, the first thing I want to do is clean up her face. I don't know if I'm going to get into the background right now or get into the background later, but there aren't too much things to do on the background, so you just have to clean this place up and clean this place up. You know what? Let's clean up the background first. So Command J to duplicate the image, and let's pick our lasso tool. Maybe just zoom in, and I'm just going to take this out. Select that, fill, content aware, and I'll click OK, and it's just going to take that out for me. You know, just fix this places to content aware. Okay, and it's going to fix that place for me, and maybe I'll do it for here too, and I'll fix the rest with frequency separation. So fill, content aware. Let's see if it's going to do a good job. Yeah, it did a pretty decent job. So the remaining, I'll take it out with frequency separation and just blend that space out a little bit. Now, if you guys want to see the behind the scenes of this particular photo shoot, I'll put it out very soon, and I'll show you guys exactly how we shot this, show you my light setup, show you my everything, the cameras. You guys are just going to see the behind the scenes very soon. So put it out this week or next week. Keep you guys posted, and once I put it out, if you're watching this video after I put out the behind the scenes, I'll put a link in the description below, so you guys can definitely go check that out. Okay, so now that I am done fixing those tiny things on the background that were affecting me, the next thing I want to do right now is run my frequency separation action that you can get for free. So go check out my digital store, and you can get that for free. So right now we're just going to pick a radius that works for us. So this is a huge file. This is a 42 megapixel file, and you know, if I was shooting with like an iPhone and I was shooting at this distance, I'll probably not use this much blur, but you know, somewhere around 9.5, let's see, somewhere around 10 will work for this image, right? So let's see our preview before after. So this works for me. Okay, great. So what I'm doing with my basic frequency separation is just removing blemishes. So right now I am using my clone stamp tool to just remove blemishes and just fix that out. Now this video is probably going to be pretty long, so right now I'm just going to fast forward this video and just take out all the blemishes. Okay guys, now I am done removing the blemishes from my face. That took a couple minutes. So this is the before, this is the after, before and after. So I've done a pretty decent job removing all that from my face now, right? But the truth of the matter is that if I keep zooming in and I keep looking, I'll keep seeing different things that I want to take out. So what I'm going to do right now is just try to move on from this and move on to other things. Easier said than done, isn't it, when you are retouching? Okay, great. So now the next thing I'm going to do is create my micro dodge and burn layers, or create my complete dodge and burn layers, right? So micro dodge and burn, global dodge and burn, everything. If you guys want my dodge and burn actions, go check out my retouching essentials pack. I have everything in there. So complete dodge and burn pack comes with my invert check layer for retouching. So my invert check layer looks pretty good. So right now just going to set it to somewhere about here so I can see the highlights and the shadows really well, right? So now I'm going to toggle that off and come down to my first micro dodge and burn layer, pick a brush, and I'm going to reduce my flow all the way to 1. So I don't think I'll do too much micro dodge and burn. I don't think I'm just going to go in depth and retouch this like it's a beauty image, but I will take my time a little bit. Maybe I'm just going to give it 10 to 15 minutes to sort this out. So now I'm going to turn on my invert check layer, make sure that my foreground color is white, make sure that my brush, my hardness is set to 0, and I am going to micro dodge and burn away. So with my invert check layer, I'm going to burn the blacks, which are the highlights. Yep, I'm going to burn the blacks, which are the highlights, and that will dodge the whites, which are the shadows. Okay, so now I'm just going to get into this and get this out of the way, and you guys can see how it's working, right? So that's before and that's the after. So if I toggle this off, that's before, that's the after. Doing a pretty nice job already, even though I haven't done anything, but you guys get you guys know the vibe. You know the vibe, right? Okay, great. So now I am just going to get to this. I won't spend so much time here, just mess around with the highlights and the shadows around her face, and when I am done, I am going to be back to show you guys my finished micro dodged and burnt image. Okay, so let me get into it. Okay guys, so I think I've done a pretty decent job dodging and burning her face. There's obviously, I still have like a lot to do. If I was just to continue dodging and burning, I can see this mark here, I can see this light part here, and I can just burn that away. And if I show you, let me show you before and after. So before, after, before, after. So I'm going to zoom out, and that way you guys can see a lot more. So that's the before and that's the after, before, after. So done a pretty decent job, you know, dodging and burning the image to a particular decent place that I want. So I'm just going to go into the body and just touch that up a little bit, but not too much, just a little bit, you know, even things out, the light variation out a little bit, and we'll continue from there. So let me get straight into that. Okay guys, now I am done with my micro dodge and burn, macro, micro, whichever one. I'm done with the dodge and burn, and I have gotten the image to a pretty decent place, you know. So let's see how before, and after. So the thing about portraits is that because they're very different from beauty, and the way light hits a portrait that is just a face, or a beauty image that is just a face, is very different from the way light is going to hit your portrait that is full body. So you're going to have different light variations, and you have to do a lot more when you are working with the full image and you're using micro dodge and burn. What I use micro dodge and burn to do personally is to prep my image and make sure that my image is at a good place for me to now do frequency separation. So right now we're going to jump into frequency separation. So my basic FS, which is frequency separation that I used for removing blemishes, I'm going to merge that. So Command E, and I'm just going to name it BFS, you know, because if I create another frequency separation, it might affect those layers down, and we don't want to do that. So my second micro dodge and burn, I'm not going to use that. Typically use it when I'm doing when I'm retouching beauty images. So right now at this point, I'm going to make sure my micro dodge and burn is selected and my folder is closed. So I'm going to do Command Option Shift and E. Let's create the merge visible layer, and now I'm going to run my advanced frequency separation and set my radius to 10. Great, and now I have this. So what I'm going to do is pick my mixer brush tool, and I am going to work on this image. Make sure I'm working on the low layer, and without zooming in, I'm just going to work on the transitions between the highlights and the shadows. Now I'm zoomed out because I want to see everything. I don't want to see just the part. And I'm just going to, you know, take my time with this. Now I know this might seem like I'm not doing much, but trust me, you guys are going to see the before and the after in a little bit. So what I'm just doing with my mixer brush tool is just blending in the colors, the highlights, and the shadows, just blending everything. Now the thing about micro dodge and burn is you're not touching the colors, you're just working on the highlights and the shadows. So you're just working on the luma range of the image basically. But with your mixer brush tool and frequency separation, you're working on everything, both the highlights, the shadows, and the colors of the image, down to, you know, how smooth the skin is going to be and all that. So that's why I don't advise just jumping directly into frequency separation. If you can, you know, stay away from it for just a little bit and use micro dodge and burn to fix all those major highlights and shadows, and then just come in with your frequency separation and just, you know, sort out the rest. It's more time consuming, but the image is going to look better that way. Okay, great. So just fix this right here, enhance too. Okay, great. So like I told you guys, it might seem like I haven't done much, but I have done quite a lot. And I know, you know, there are some spots, you know, around here, and I'm not actually making a conscious effort to take those off because I still want the image to look real. You know, you just don't want it to look fake and look flat, right? So let's see our before and our after. Before, after. I made a mistake somewhere around the nose, so I'm just going to fix that. I'm just going to drag my shadows in and just fix that mistake that I made. And if I can't fix it very well, I will sort it out with the global dodge and burn. So before, after. Okay, did a decent job fixing that. Okay, great. So let's see our before from the beginning. So this is our before and this is our after. Before, after. You guys can see our image has come a long way. So before, after, before, after, before, after, before, after. Okay, great. So with the, I'm just going to pull the shadows up just a little bit. Okay, so let's see our before and after again, before and after. Okay, great. So this looks really good at this point. So the next thing I want to do right now is just go to my high frequency layer, pick my clone stamp tool, and just take out any other thing that I do not like, just to smoothen out the image just a little bit more. So anything I can see that I do not like, again, I'm just going to take that out. So yes, with my images, I tend to do frequency separation twice. Anything I don't like goes out, so the image looks nice and fresh. But I don't think there's a lot to do right now. Okay, so let's see our before and after again. Before, after, before, after. Okay, we've done a pretty decent job. So right now I'm going to toggle on my global dodge and burn, pick my brush tool, then I'll go to my dodge. Now what I do is I just turn all these things off, just turn everything off, I mean, and just work with my dodge right here. Now the reason why I do this is because, you know, right now let me just take my flow all the way to 3. Like I said before, I have not edited this image at all. This is my first time, so I am just going with how I feel. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking when you haven't worked on an image before and YouTube is the first place that you're working on it, because, you know, after YouTube you tend to see a couple mistakes that you've made that you probably will not make on a normal day. Because, you know, I know this is just me in my space working alone, but the fact that a couple thousand people are going to watch this is nerve-wracking, you know, because it just seems like that here watching you retouch. And you just want to make sure that you actually teach somebody something. So yeah. Okay, so right now I am doing my global dodge and burn. And we'll see how that looks in a little bit. So right now I'm just going to toggle on my frequency separation. You guys, let's see global dodge and burn. Looks really good. Okay, great. So now we're going to go to burn. That was just a dodge, and burn, we are just going to, I don't know if you guys could see, like I really am not burning this side because, you know, the shadows there are already pretty strong. So you really do not have to burn everywhere or dodge and burn all the time. If the shadows and the highlights are quite strong, then you can just leave that alone. Okay, great. Now I'm just going to darken some parts of the hair. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, great. We are looking good. We're looking really good at this point. So the next thing I want to do is pull up my levels, which I do all the time. But typically at this point, what I'm going to do is that I am either going to, you know, whiten her eyes or whiten her teeth, but her eyes look really white, so there's no need for that. So right now I'm just going to pull up my levels and drag my whites in, holding option or alternate on PC, and I'll drag my blacks in just to add some contrast to this image again. Okay, great. That looks really good. What would I do right now? Maybe just use my reduce reds. Where are you? Just reduce the reds on the skin, run that action, and just drag this down a little bit. Okay, this is looking pretty nice. Okay, that's good. So at this point, the next thing I'm going to do is probably just use my rich tones. Let's see how that looks. That looks gorgeous, looks beautiful. Okay, so now I am just going to reduce this. It looks really good, not just too much, maybe somewhere around here. And next thing I'll do, let's just toggle off the invert check layer, is add a lot to it. Add one of my lots that I use. Okay, so let's just pick I really love 4, because if you guys watch my videos, you know I use 4 all the time. But right now, nah, maybe let's see what 6 looks like. I prefer 6 this time to 4. 6 looks better. So what I'm going to do is probably just drop the opacity a little bit and get those nice skin tones, get those nice rich tones. And the next thing I want to do is probably just mess around with my background. So I'm just going to go to my hue saturation, then select color range, and I'm going to pick the dark colors at the back. Yes, I know it's going to get some of her hair, but that's fine. We are going to take that out. So right now I'm just going to click colorize and just pick something that works and just reduce my lightness. So something like this works. Okay, great. Now I know you guys can see a lot of the it almost seems like the image is breaking, but don't worry, the image is not breaking. That is just because of the blur that I have in the advanced frequency separation layer. So once I merge everything, you're not going to see any of that again. So right now what I'm going to do is just pick a black brush, make sure my flow is at 100%, and I just want to paint this off her hair. If you have a better way to do this, then definitely do that, but this is how I love to do this. Okay, great. So let's see the before and the after of this image. Before, after. You guys see how far I've come. Before, after. Okay, great. So at this point, maybe one last thing I like to do is just throw a vignette on this image. So pick this vignette, then from her face, hold shift. Okay, I think that's a little bit too much. Okay, great. Actually I like this. Then reduce the opacity and just create a nice vignette around our image. Okay, so let's see before and after for the vignette. I'll create a layer mask, pick a brush and just paint it out of her face. Okay, great. So I think you can call this portrait retouched. And now I'm just going to merge my frequency separation layers together. You guys can see the blur has reduced. And now I'm just going to save this image and go back to capture one, maybe just add something else to it, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so now we are back in capture one. So let's see our image, our before and our after. So before, after. As you guys can see, we brought this image quite a long way. And if we just want to add something else to it, I can just pull up my Luma curves up there and just that's just being extreme with the image at this point, you know, like messing with my Luma curves. But you know, I like my Luma curves, so I might as well just mess with it just a tiny bit. I mean, if this is too dark for you, then you really do not have to, you know, go this way, but I just feel like it is really nice, and it's a long way from how this looks from here to here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Probably posting the behind the scenes pretty soon, and maybe another video of me retouching one of these images. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day. Peace out, guys. Oh, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and comment below. Just tell me how you feel. Peace out, guys.